Alright, this next part isn't necessarily rocket science, but I just wanted to show you quick. I just got the valve cover off and I cut the video, and first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that these spark plug tubes are put back in the valve cover before you put the valve cover on. Do not put them in the head first. They go in the valve cover first, okay? And then I already peeled off the old gasket. I'm not going to grab it again because it's all full of shit, but one thing I noticed was that it's extremely plasticky and brittle. Here's the new gasket. I'll get the part number for you guys so you have it. I'm a big fan of Victor Wren's for sealing like gaskets and stuff like that, so I'm going to go ahead and all you have to do is you just have to put it back on the valve cover. I'm not going to take a video of that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just put on the valve cover. When I get that done and I get all the bolts I pulled up, put them back in the valve cover, then we'll go back and I'll show you how to get this thing back on. Alright, and we're back. I got the valve cover gasket on. I'm going to try to put this on. I already had one failed attempt at trying to get this on without dropping the gasket. The gasket wants to fall out, so let me put it this way, it's not fun or easy to get this on. Stupid gasket keeps wanting to pop out. So you gotta make sure it's pushed in all the way before you turn it over. I'm not a fan of the way they designed this valve cover. Seems kind of redundant, but whatever. Let's try that again. Well, you guys won't see the first failed attempt at me getting this on, but see where I'm having the issue. I'm just trying to get back there far enough. The wires are stuck. I got it in the right area. It's just a matter of twisting it and getting it down. It's kind of hanging up on the DME wires back here. That sounded worse than it actually was, I promise. Oh, the gasket fell out. Alright, I'm gonna try to get that gasket back on. So if you couldn't tell, there's no magical fairy way to get this thing on there. It will fight you every step of the way. And you'll get mad at it. But once you get it on, it's worth it, and it won't leak no more, right? spark plug tubes like to hang up on the injector, the brackets for the fuel injector, so you gotta kind of work it around that. There's these two wires back here. Make sure they're not pinched in the valve cover for the O2 sensor. What I'm doing now is making sure nothing's stuck in between the valve cover. I'm lifting up the edges and putting my fingers underneath it to make sure the gasket didn't move. Alright. I think we got it. A pain in the butt, huh? Yeah, I'm taking this video just as I do it because I want you guys to see no frills, no quick motion, nothing. I want you guys to see what this actually is and how it entails, because like, I've done two of them and they're not easy. They're not necessarily undoable by the standard DIYer. But I want you guys to know what you can expect. No cherry blossoms on the other side, you know? And I'm not tightening them down with this, I'm just using it to run them in. Put that one in by hand. pretty boring process, tightening up all these bolts. Son of a bitch, huh? Sorry I ain't talking too much right now. There's not a whole lot to say at the moment. Just tightening bolts down. Remember those 4 back ones? That's what I'm getting right now. Okay. Now we gotta get the 4 stud ones. Those 10 millimeters. Not 4, 3 of them, sorry. So we got those all threaded in by hand. So Now we can start torquing the valve cover down. Alright, the torque spec for the valve cover is 7 foot-pounds for all the bolts. And my little torque wrench here only measures in inch-pounds, so we got 7 times 12 is 84. 84. So I set this to 84 inch-pounds. Alright. So in all my times of doing gaskets, when it comes to the valve covers, I always go from the inside out. So we'll start from the middlemost stud here. We have to take that socket off like number before. Alright. And it gets kind of pain in the ass when you gotta deal with the E-Torques and those studs at the same time. So now I got the E-Torque socket on there. I'm gonna get this middle one right here. Alright, so then we'll go to the next E-Torques over here. And we'll go to the E-Torques over here. We'll go to E-Torques down here. Here. Go up here. And down here, get these three. I'm going to get my extension so I can actually reach it. Got a total of 6. 2, 6, 12, 18, something like that done. So now we're going to move on to that stud again. I'm actually just going to get both the studs right away. I don't think it'll matter too much. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Alright. Shit. So now I can just concentrate on the E-Torques bolts. Kind of put those tubes back where they were, now they got the cover on. You ever bend over a car so much your back starts to hurt really bad? Maybe it's because I'm old. Alright, so I got all of them tightened except for the very back ones. Shit. Make sure I have enough video left on here. How much time do we have? 1 hour, 18 minutes. Okay. Put a little extension on it, I think. Yeah, don't try torquing these with a big old 3/4 inch drive torque wrench that goes to 120 pounds. You're not going to be able, it won't click. I'm not even sure why torque wrenches even go that low, those big ones, but yeah, they're not accurate at that range. I think it's like the last 15%. It's not accurate. So something to bear in mind. The socket keeps hitting that some kind of hard line or something. Okay. As you can see, the biggest pain in the ass of this thing in general is just working around all the wires. So that one I won't be able to torque with a torque wrench, and the wrench won't reach it. But we'll do that one by eye, or feel rather. I've just got done torquing a shitload of them, so I kind of know how tight they have to be by now. Make sure I got that about the same tightness. Yeah. Alright, so that's all the bolts to the best of my knowledge. I'm going to pause it for just a bit. I'm going to take a little breather. I'm going to go get a fan. It's getting really warm in here, so I'll be back. Alright, we're back again. I didn't show it on camera, but while I was off camera, I went around and checked them all again. I missed two. So it's very important that after you're done, you go around and you check all of them to make sure they're tight. Because all it takes is one, and then you got a leaking valve cover, and you just spent all that work for nothing. So So basically it's reverse from what we did before. I kind of just lay the wires back the way they were, but don't attach anything yet. Except these those vacuum tubes can kind of go back where they were, but just kind of lay everything back the way it was. Kind of work this wire back around that weird clip thing. Damn it, I should have showed you guys that when I had it off so I could show you what it looks like. It's like a 3-prong clip thing. It's not very hard to figure out. So then you get these wires. We'll deal with these in a little bit because we gotta reattach those hoses. Actually, we'll probably do that now while I have all this shit off. If there's enough hose here, you can just reconnect them. If not, then you're gonna have to cut some new hose. I think I actually can work around that. Just reconnect them. It doesn't matter which way they go back on. So I just checked my hose pile and I don't have any more of this hose left, so it's a good thing we have enough left over just to connect those back up. Make sure, can you guys even see what I'm doing? Yeah, we're backing hoses right here. Make sure they're on pretty good. If you don't put these on all the way, you won't have any boost. And I'll tell my buddy that he has to replace those. I just don't have any hose left. And as far as getting these tubes back in where they were, I always take a screwdriver. Here it is. I always take a screwdriver, just push them back down. They're not easy to get in, but normally the fuel rail's on here and I can kind of use that for leverage, but it's not. So yeah, these aren't going to go back in. I'll put them in a little later when I get the fuel rail back on. I got something to pry on, but they're pressed in there pretty tight. But even if you can't get them back on there, it's not the end of the world. It just kind of holds them. The acoustic cover that goes on here has all that foam on it, and that'll hold them in place either way. So the next part is to get the fuel rail back on. So I'm going to grab it. Now the fuel lines are still attached as earlier. You want to go ahead and just plug your connector back in right away. Kind of line up the lines for each injector. You want to start them all and don't just start them a little bit. Get them down there pretty good, because if you could still mess up that ball seat on the line if you don't get them down close enough to the seat. So what I always do is I tighten them all the way down and back it off a hair. That still gives you enough room to work with for moving it around and whatnot. The rest of these are the way I left them. So you get your main one here. Put that, thread that on, start that up. Alright. Now when you got everything started, tighten them up by hand. And that'll hold it in its position that it has to be for the most part. But you still want to be able to wiggle it around a little bit because you got to get the bolts back in for the fuel rail. I just start them in a little bit and I'll run them in with my gun. Work smarter, not harder. Alright. Now you take a 13 mil and my nut runner. And my extension. There it is. I don't know what the torque spec for these is, but it's not a gasket critical thing, so. Like I said, this impact gun sounds gnarly when it's clicking, but it's really... Yeah, could it fuck up those bolts full throttle? Absolutely, but it's not like it's going to screw it up completely. So I'm just going to tighten those down nice and snug. You know, use your better judgment. It's aluminum head, so don't go nuts with it. Alright, so now after we got those on there, first you want to tighten for your fuel rail connections. You want to tighten, excuse me, the bigger one first. And what I always do is I get it snug and 1/8 of a turn. Okay? You will strip these out real easy if you go over that. They're just hydraulic connection. Like I said, I used to work for hydraulics a few years ago, so get them both pretty much snugged up. Don't tighten one at a time. And then go back. All you need. It's easier to start the engine and check for a leak after you get it all put back together than it is to sit there and figure out how you're going to replace a connection because you stripped it out and over tightened it. Ready then? Now we can put these clips back down that we didn't break because weren't stupid with them and try to pull them off. And this wire goes back inside there. O2 sensor wires can go back. The excess wire just kind of goes back there. You'll need that excess wire if you ever get downpipes. So you can see somebody worked on this before. And they wrote the O2 sensors on there. Which ain't a bad idea because it's easy to fuck those up. Those wires all nice and tucked. Plug your sensors back up in front here. Okay. And now that I got that fuel rail back on there, I got something to pry against. I can usually get these in. And a bigger screwdriver. That's more for the OCD folk if you want those back in there, but whatever. I'm gonna take the zip tie back off that I had on here holding that line. So that's all hunky-dory. Now we work on the wiring over here. If you recall earlier, we took 2 bolts out of this wiring loom thing. Now we're just going to put that back. I'm just going to grab my nut driver for this one. These don't need to be very tight. Now we work on getting the wiring back where it was. So there's really no rocket science way to do this. You just kind of put them back the way you found them. Plug all the injectors back in. Make sure you plug them in the right way. Because the wire's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you'll see it when you get there. Because you can't. You could plug them in the wrong way, but you almost have to try to. Okay, so once you got the injectors plugged back in, you don't have to worry about. You gotta worry about these grounds for your spark, for your coils. So I'm actually gonna get you over here so you can see more. Magnet. All right. So what I'm working on now is these ground looms for your spark plug wires. These little tiny nuts, little guys. Okay. Focus. All right, there we go. Yeah, little tiny nuts. Okay. And they go on these studs that we were talking about earlier. So you take, there's 3 of these little ground wires. You put it on. Take your little nut, put it on there, and I use an 8mm nut driver. I just make sure you clear that plastic part, and just tighten it down. It don't have to be very tight. Don't go He-Man on it, because you'll rip that stud threads right off. And this one right here, same thing. I will zoom out so you can see where I'm working. You just got another stud right here. And then there's one in the back here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't feel like moving the camera again, but I'm just going to grab it quick. There are 3 in total. If you forget to attach those, you're probably going to have misfires, so don't forget. Alright, next thing is the ignition coils. Alright, I put all these on the floor in order that they came out. I like to grab a little dielectric grease, throw it on the end. I bought this tube probably 7 years ago and I still have not used it all. But yeah, just a little, take a little bit of dollop in there, just go blap. Okay. It'll make it easier for getting them out at a later date if you ever have to remove them again. And he'll thank me later. Maybe, I don't know. So you just push it down, have your connector. Right? Repeat this 6 times. Oh, and I forgot to add that we have to put that PCV valve hose back on. Luckily, it's a lot easier getting it on than it is off. Yeah, see? Alright, just trying to think if there's anything else that has to be put on. I mean, besides that bar you took off earlier, and that one wire, that positive wire, it's hanging up here. That would be it. So, yeah, I don't know, it didn't take me too long, about 3 hours. I'm going to turn the camera right back upside down here. So, yeah, that's it. I really hope this helps somebody. Sorry it's so long, but I just wanted to give you the non-luxury of doing this. Because I've actually helped 2 people already that kind of dove into it, and you know, they kind of bit off more than they can chew because other videos make it seem a little easier than it actually is, in my opinion. It's not hard, but I just wanted to give you a real life as done video so you can see how it was done. So as always, thanks for watching. If there's anything else you guys want to see, let me know in the comment section down below. And please subscribe, that helps me out a lot. Let me know that you guys like these videos and hit the like button. Thanks guys.